You've already fulfilled your task as guides, so why do you still linger here? Haven't you already seen enough trouble for today?
Huh? Who's there?
If you were Fatui, I imagine that you would be entitled to a generous reward from the Tsaritsa herself. But now, you're nothing but dross, and you're in my way. Where should I start? Well, I've never been one to beat around the bush, you know. But who could have possibly guessed that the god of Geo would mysteriously perish the very moment I arrived in Liyue, and that the exuvia would subsequently be hidden away? If it weren't for that lovely little rite of parting ceremony you put together, it would have taken me a whole lot longer to get the information. Stopping the more immense...
So you've been planning to take the gnosis from inside the exuvia all along?
As one of the 11 Fatui Harbingers, it's my duty to see the will of the She will get that which she desires. I'm not asking for your blessing, and there's nothing you can do to stop me anyway. The time for discussion and diplomacy has already passed. I mean, if it were up to me, I would have skipped that stage to begin with. But I'm willing to do as the Tsaritsa deems fit. Either way, we now come to my favorite part. A simple pleasure, and one that I am oh so delighted to be sharing with you. The battle.
Battle? So you're the type that goes looking for trouble, huh?
You could say that. When Signora offended the deities outside the cathedral in Mondstadt, she swiftly left the scene once her mission was accomplished. Instead of confronting you directly, she chose to rely on the snow and ice to make her escape. She wouldn't want the knights to come running towards the sound of battle now, would she? When she faces a worthy opponent, she will prioritize her mission, weigh the outcomes, and consider the consequences of her actions. But as for me, the greatest pleasure of being a harbinger lies in crossing blades with strong opponents.
We won't let what happened in Mondstadt ever happen again!
Oh, so you intend to fight me? Good. I won't kill you, Traveler. I'll just play along, to feel the thrill of battle. Besides, you could never defeat me, not even in your wildest dreams. But hey, try to relish the fight anyway, because if you ask me... Fighting talk, I love it. Now let's see you live up to it. Not bad. Your swordsmanship is quite impressive. But that's about as far as you'll get. Didn't think you had that card hidden up your sleeve.
You were just playing us to get close to the exuvia!
Oh, quiet down. Stop acting like some wide-eyed recruit. You've seen this world. You of all people should know. This should have been expected. Well then, I'll be taking Morax's gnosis now. I see. Well, this is most unexpected. You beat me to it, didn't you? burden of the foul legacy transformation was too great for my body. I lacked the opportunity to think this through. And now that I consider the matter more carefully, you never had any chance of beating me to the Gnosis. You had no connection to the Gnosis, no matter where it had been taken.
That's what we've been trying to tell you. We didn't take it.
Your show of ability today far surpasses that of Signora's initial assessment of you in Mondstadt. Tell me, how could that be? You already know the answer, don't you? I can see it in your eyes. But if that is a secret you wish to keep, I guess I'll just have to curb my curiosity. This battle has already left me satisfied. Anyone who strives as I do to grow stronger shall be called a friend, even if our friendship can only be shown in battle against one another.
Pretty sure that's not the normal way to make friends.
Unfortunately, I must bring this amiable conversation to an end. My quest still beckons. Given that the Gnosis wasn't taken by anyone, then we must look once again to the beginning. Perhaps it was never in the Exuvia to begin with. In fact, it might be that the Exuvia was just a diversion of sorts.
What? So you mean that...
Yes, it appears so. Interesting to say the least. It seems that the guardian deity of the capital of commerce is also well versed in little maneuvers beyond the boundaries of contracts. As such, we must now look to our backup plan.
Backup plan?
I had hoped it would never come to this, for the weak will be swept away in the process. The truth is, the world belongs to those who pursue strength. I seldom willingly involve myself with the weak. Unfortunately, we cannot be picky about our methods as Fatui Harbingers. Children must all learn to eat their vegetables sometime.
So what are you planning to do?
I will awaken the god that lies dormant beneath Guyon's stone forest.
A god?
Osial, overlord of the Vortex, who was defeated by Morax, the Geo-Archon in the Archon War, and who has remained pinned beneath the waves by the Geo-Archon's stone spears ever since. If such an ancient god were to be unleashed upon Liyue Harbor, defenseless without the protection of its deity, do you think the cunning Rex Lapis would just stand aloof and watch the ensuing destruction?
But the Archon War ended 2,000 years ago. How could an ancient god appear in a world now overseen by the Seven?
Simple. I've already prepared the means to awaken it.
Hey, those are sigils of permission. Oh, Paimon remembers now. The Fatui have been researching them.
Indeed. The one that was given to you was just a byproduct of our research. With the power of so many sigils of permission concentrated in one place, along with that which was bestowed upon me as a harbinger by our Tsaritsa, breaking the subduing might of the Geo-Archon spears for a time should be no obstacle. Using the powers of ancient gods in such a situation fails to interest me, and is largely against my principles. But knowing that such an action will not only force the Geo-Archon to show its hand, but you as well, that makes matters a little more intriguing. Let's see. Will the nation that has lost its deity be swallowed up by an ancient malice once more? If you wish to drown together with the people of Liyue, you're free to stay and enjoy the show.
Huh? He's already gone. That guy is fast. What's going on? exhausted. If we hadn't happened to see the Jade Chamber flying over just as we came out of the Golden House, we really wouldn't have known which way to go. Do we make it in time? Is the Overlord of the Vortex still in the sea? It hasn't destroyed Liyue yet, has it?
What are you doing here?
Huh? Hold on. It's the Adepti. What are you doing on the Jade Chamber? Paimon thought you were arguing with the Chising. Is the fighting over?
Faced with a calamity of such magnitude, we have agreed to put our differences aside for now and unite against this common enemy.
Oh, Paimon gets it. So how do you plan to defend Liyue? Just seeing this Overlord of the Vortex guy puts a pit in Paimon's tummy, even from all the way out here.
It's not just you. We've got new Millilith recruits who can't even stand at attention without shaking. The force of an ancient god's presence seems to be too much for ordinary people to handle. Which is why we must stop that monster before it gets any closer to Liyue Harbor.
So the Archon War was fought 2,000 years ago against enemies like that thing? Now that's scary. So will the power of the Chising, Millilith, and Adepti gathered here be enough to stop that god?
We've already discussed this together, and our conclusion is not necessarily.
What? But all of you are supposed to be the guardians of Liyue. Can't you think of something?
One certainly could.
Huh?
The Chising did once research the matter of the Guizhong ballista when it piqued their fancy. And as fate would have it, one who did craft the Guizhong ballista with one's own hands is here. For what could you mortals ever learn of Adepti mechanisms? Yet it would take one, but a little tinkering to turn this ballista into an engine of war beyond your wildest thoughts.
I suppose this is one blessing from the Adepti that we should be thankful for. So be it. We shall use the upgraded Guizhong ballista to fight off that god. All the Adepti here can lend their strength to man it. We haven't a moment to spare. Our battle begins now.
Yep.
The Fatui! They're attacking the Guizhong ballista!
The three Adepti are manning the Guizhong ballista.
The interlopers are no more. Now we may commit ourselves fully.
It's working! We just need to keep this up!
Be careful now.
The Guizhong Ballista is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another idea.
What do you mean, Lady Ningguang?
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber.
What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler, lend me a hand.
Farewell, old friend.
Goodbye for now. Let us meet again in the future.
The ominous aura of that monster has indeed begun to fade. The effects of the Sigil of Permission last but a short time. It will be some time before the Overlord of the Vortex can make any waves again.
We are indebted to you for your assistance. If the Adepti hadn't happened to be here, the future of Liyue Harbor would surely have been in great jeopardy.
Save your flattery. We didn't just happen to be here. Surely you won't pretend to have forgotten the reason for which we came.
Come now. There's no need for such harsh words, Cloud Retainer. I've heard that when Ningguang began learning to do business, she had already started setting aside part of her then limited income in preparation for building the Jade Chamber. At first, it was only the size of a small room, but with continued expansion, it has become the palace that lies before you now. It is a testament to Ningguang's entire life, both as a businesswoman and as the backbone of the Liyue Qixing. Seeing the Jade Chamber destroyed in the defense of Liyue means much to her. To me, such cooperation and sacrifice deserves at least some recognition, don't you agree?
Well, I was really hoping you would say that such sacrifice could at least be used as some leverage in our negotiations. Thank you all for hearing me out. We know very well why the Adepti came here today. But please forgive us. We cannot yield to your wishes.
Oh?
3,700 years. According to our records, the Adepti signed a contract with Rex Lapis to protect Liyue 3,700 years ago. Even to this very day, Liyue and its lands have stood the test of time, immovable as stone, just as it was thousands of years before. This is truly no small feat. But that does not mean that the Liyue of today is the same city as it was all those years ago. Do not merely cast your protective gaze upon the land. Instead, focus your sights on our city and each of the citizens that dwell within it.
Are you questioning our means of protecting Liyue?
I mean no offense. I simply hope that our Adepti forebears would see Liyue in a new light.
Forebears, you say? One doubts you would be fit to be part of such a lineage.
This morning, Rex Lapis appeared to me in a dream.
What?
In the dream, I yearned to tell him that we Qixing, though mortal, are equally bound to the contract. Each passing generation of the Qixing leaves many things of value to be inherited by the next generation. I also thought to tell him how the past generations of Qixing had strove under his rule to survive in our mortal world, establishing a network of contracts which has since come to be known as trade. But I dared not speak. I could only gaze at him in silence until the moment I awoke.
Oh, Ningguang.
Yet another perspective. What are you trying to say, Outlander?
Right! That's something that happened in Mondstadt. It's a story about the Four Winds and the people of the Animal Archon. The Animal Archon sought to quell the strife between the two sides, because he believed that such conflict would only scar the hearts of both, and that nothing good would come of it.
Each of the 7 nations has its own scars from the past.
Though your point is the very height of simplicity. As Adepti, we've become a laughingstock, to be chastised thus by an outlander who has lent us such succor.
All right, all right. Didn't Ningguang suggest that we should focus on the city and each of its citizens? I know I already have, so why not see for yourselves?
I apologize for appearing in full armor. I am afraid I cannot show the proper courtesies.
And who are you?
I am Feng Yan, a sergeant of the Millelith. I have come to extend my thanks to the Adepti. I thought this battle would perhaps be my last. But thanks to the aid of the Adepti, our forces were not as badly battered as I feared we might be. Although I am a mere mortal soldier, I promise to hold the line and never betray the grace given to us by the illuminated Adepti this day.
Huh? Why does everyone look so down? Didn't we just beat that big monster?
Weren't you frightened, dear? It was quite the predicament.
I wasn't afraid. All the strong Millelith guards were there, and those powerful heroes with their visions were there. Everyone was there. When danger is near, everyone always protects me. And the rest of the time, they make fun toys and tasty snacks and loads of things that make the harbor so pretty. Thanks for protecting Liyue Harbor. Please come visit us for the next lantern rite.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to participate.
Huh?
Because we are Adepti.
Oh, okay. It must be hard being an Adeptus. Aww.
You see, this is what Liyue is like today. The country of contracts is grateful to the Adepti for their protection. But it is no longer necessary for the city to rely on the Adepti's power to solve every little niggling matter. Although their blood is weak, there is still strength to be found in those we call mortals. The time of contracts between gods and Liyue has long since passed. Now is the time of contracts between Liyue and its people.
Seeing the port around us now, it is hard not to feel a bit out of place. Wouldn't you say so, Cloud Retainer?
Your line of inquiry is askew. One did not spearhead this expedition to Liyue Harbor.
Seems like the Adepti have had a change of heart.
Let us return now.
Eager to leave, conqueror of demons.
Yes, one understands what the conqueror of demons means. The city of Liyue has changed much after our long separation. One fears that by the time one finally grasps the new contracts of Liyue, you humans would have once again changed the place beyond recognition. Fair enough. Away we shall, and return whence we came.
Since we Adepti have consensus, then one shall persist no further. But how will we ensure that the Liyue Qixing will not simply exploit their power once we depart? In my view, that is still a thing to be guarded against.
All right, Mooncarver, you needn't worry. It seems to me that this right of supervision is best left to the people of Liyue.